already across the two games. But can he double up? Yes, he can. And this man at the moment cannot miss. And the last man to record a 300 game, in fact the only man to record a 300 game in the World 10-pin Masters, one Jason Belmonte, the only other double-handed bowler at this level in the world. 12 strikes, 1 spare, 1 open. That is some stats.
Oh dear. Well, you can, as I say, you can see the line guys playing. He's made the adjustment to try and move, to get something, find something different. And a little rough smile there says, well, it's not my day, I can tell. He's hit in the pocket and he hasn't carried that 10-pin yet again.
And you really feel for Guy Cass. He's had to travel all of his life to make the international tournaments. Not a lot of 10-pin bowling goes to South Africa, so he's had to do the travelling. And it's almost a once-a-year thing for him at the moment with the Masters. It's so frustrating. He's out on the lane for, well, 30, 40 minutes. And it can all go again for another 12 months.
As you say, Simon, it's an awful long way to come just for 2 games. I know he enjoys the whole of the tournament, meeting people and friends from around the world, but a bit frustrating, and you can tell by the look on his face that he's almost resigned now that, well, what score is Osku going to bowl against me?
Well, Kaminsky wouldn't miss this tournament for the world, regardless of the results. He could have done without this, though. Palermo in sparkling form. Oh, terrific stuff. That's a turkey.
And that actually makes 12 strikes in a row, although not all in the same game. So that's the potential that this man has got. He's just bowled 12 beautiful strikes deep inside line, and look at the rotation on that ball. So much power, drives that 10-pin away, which unfortunately Guy can't do at the moment. And 12 strikes in a row. Okay, now Guy obviously is looking for something different. He's changed ball now.
Got it this time.
Wow.
It's probably borrowed one of Osku's balls.
A sympathetic cheer and round of applause from the crowd because he's managed to dig that 10-pin out. No doubt he'll be staying with that ball again, but just a little, well, what sort of smile is that he's got on his face? Resigned.
Resigned, I'd say. Well, these fans in Barnsley know their bowling, they love their bowlers, and they love this man, Guy Kaminsky. Sporting round of applause for Camo, enjoying it as ever. I tell you what, if Palermo misses, there's going to be a very big reaction from the crowd. If he keeps striking, it'll be even bigger. Got it, no doubt.
This is pretty awesome stuff, isn't it?
Well, I'm feeling good about these, about a ½ a metre out from the pocket, Cass. I'm thinking that looks good.
You start to read this game, Simon, don't you? Osku Palermo, ranked number 2 in Europe just at the moment on the European ranking tour. But it's early days this year. Obviously we'll be featuring, and who knows, may well even bowl himself into a cup into the European Weber Cup team, who knows.
Well on Camo, so Guy Kaminsky coming back with a double. Won't quite match Palermo's 4-bagger. Plenty to think about for the South African.
Well, if he can finish with a decent game here, 220 plus, he'll have to be satisfied with that, unfortunately. It's not going to be enough to bring back the 76 pins that Palermo has in the lead. Plus what he's got in game 2 as well, which is a fair few.
Oh dear. Well, I said you get a reaction from the crowd, sighs all round. And I thought he was going to be halfway there. Millimetres away.
It'll be interesting now to see us, so we can see how he shoots a 10-pin spare. One-handed, see that? Hard and straight. Didn't use the two-handed delivery.
Well, it's his party piece, isn't it, Cass? You were telling me he likes to bump that 10-pin out and try and bounce it back onto the lane if he can.
That's right, yeah, enormous high backswing. Broken wrist, just wraps that ball down the lane as hard as he can, and you'll be surprised the number of times that he can bounce those single pins back this side of the sweep, and they come skidding back up the lane towards you.
My dad used to put 10 pins up for me, and I was about 4 or 5 years old, and he wouldn't put the reset all 10 until all 10 were knocked down. So I could spend a very good 2 or 3 hours trying to knock down just 10 pins. So that's basically what got me hooked, was trying to knock down all 10 pins with one ball. I've always enjoyed the individual aspect of sport, really, so I can rely on myself rather than others, and for soccer to pass the ball to me. And I love the challenge of it. Every time you get out there, the lane is always different. There's always a different aspect to try and play and learn. Yeah, it's a fantastic game. You never become bigger or better in the game. I think it's the same for all sports. And just the fact that every time you go out there, there's more to learn and understand about the game, which makes it so fantastic. Being the national champion back home now for the last, I don't know, 7 or 8 years, and just recently winning 10 years of service, which is a great honour for me back home. I really appreciate that award. And then obviously the World Cups, making qualifying third in the World Cup in 2001 was a big highlight, and then making the World Cup for the last 5 years, and then obviously the World Masters, getting invited here and giving bowlers recognition from all over the world. I really appreciate it.
Kaminsky then working a double. This is getting a bit like a golf tournament. Somebody shouting what sounded like get in the hole.
3 strikes in a row for Guy Kaminsky. How about that? Change of ball, change of line, and it's working for him. Unfortunately, this is only a 2-game tournament. A very short format. Quick sudden death.
Well, those 2 opens have really hurt Kaminsky.
Yes, unlike darts, 180 is not a good score in this game. I just thought of that.
Palermo then. Can't keep the pressure on as much as he would like. The 10-pin wavers. Kaminsky's just had a turkey.
Well, he would turn around and say, I actually hit the 10-pin, didn't he? He got the head pin messenger came flying across and just taps it. But certainly not enough to get it over. And here we go with this spare again. Just the one-handed delivery. Got some fingers in the ball. Hard and fast.
Well, anyone with shoulder problems, look away now, because he really does flex that arm, doesn't he?
Yes, I wonder if he'll be having a few tendon problems later in life. Certainly hope not. But he certainly puts some power into it, doesn't he?
2 spares then for Palermo. And 3 strikes in a row for Kaminsky, looking for the 4-bagger. He demolishes that spare. Here comes Kaminsky's ball, and it's good. The crowd like it. Now, this is when you start to think, maybe, just maybe. But he's got to rely on Palermo leaving a pretty hefty open frame, and I would imagine 2 of them, Cass. And he's got to keep striking.
As it stands, there's 85 pins difference. And I think that's too much for Guy to make back in 3 frames.
Yeah, it's a heck of an ask.
Osku has got to do nothing more than just keep the ball in play and striking.
And that will just about do it. Still some frames to come, still some great bowling to come. But Kaminsky's up against it now. This is a bit of personal pride for him. If he can keep these strikes flowing, the crowd will very much be on side.
Well, not only that, it will give him something to talk about when he comes into the commentary box, or something to talk about when he emails me, which he does quite occasionally throughout the year. Especially when the South Africans are playing cricket rather well, which is quite annoying. We won't go anywhere near that.
Good effort. So, Kaminsky turning it into a 5-bagger.
And believe it or not, actually takes the lead in the second game by 1 pin. In frame 6, he's 1 pin ahead.
Having a chat with some of the regulars in the crowd. That's the kind of guy he is. That's the kind of guy most of these bowlers are. Not a bad looking scorecard.
Yeah, it's such a shame we couldn't sort that out in game number 1.
Ooh, well, that's close to the potential for an open. It's maybe not big enough. 7 pins down.
It's the 2-8-10. This is likely to be an open frame. I'm just wondering how he's going to go about sparing this. The ball was light in the pocket, travelling too fast. Didn't mix them up. It's a 2-handed approach. He's backed it up and thrown it in the gutter. Well, is that some sort of party piece shot as well? And it didn't work out. So he's lost pins there.
Well, that was a real trick shot. Bowling right-handed, but trying to come in on the left-hander's pocket.
No, just watch that. Yes, he's backed it up from left to right. Unfortunately, couldn't keep it out the channel.
Right, Kaminsky just needs to shut all of that out at the moment and keep the strikes coming. Oh, this is quality. And at least he's showing this crowd here in Barnsley what he's capable of.
This is a very good game from Guy Kaminsky. He made the adjustments, made the changes with the ball, changed the line, settled himself down. And this is a great looking strike. 6 in a row for the man from South Africa, and a nice bit of body language. Osku now just to make a couple of marks in frame 9 and 10.
No, but he should spare it.
It's the 3-6-10, which is a tricky little spare. It'll be interesting to see how he's going to go about this. There's two ways to take it. You can hit the 3-pin on the right-hand side or the left-hand side and hope he drops those other 2 pins down. Well inside his mark. Bit of overreaction in the back end. High through the head pin and didn't break anything up.
Fortunate not to leave some sort of tricky split there. No.
Oh, dear,
lucky man,
dear.
but he's earned his luck as Palermo played some terrific 10-pin in this one and just gets a bit of good fortune.
Yeah, the bowling god smiled on him there. The last thing he wanted was actually 2 open frames. He's made that spare, and that's going to give him the opportunity to go through the 200 barrier in game 2.
What was that, the 6-pin coming back out of the gutter to knock over the 10?
It was indeed, Simon, yes, well done.
Kaminsky then. Oh, he's locked in now, isn't he? That's game face. Oh, he's got it. Another strike. So takes the form on from that foundation frame into his closer. Can he strike out from here?
Oh, potential 269 game. Unfortunately, the difference is 29 pins still, and they're in the 10th frame, so I can't see that guy's going to make this back. Palermo just needs to keep the ball in the lane, working with a spare in the 9th. His first ball will count bonus. Let's see what Guy can do here. Working 7 strikes in a row. Looking for number 8.
And he gets no fortune on the 10-pin. Well, the run comes to an end, but once again, real entertainment from the South African for this Barnsley crowd, and they show their appreciation.
Yeah, just a fraction wide, left that 10-pin standing in the corner. A spare for 258 and a good aggregate of 438, so it's a 219 average for the good man from South Africa. Unfortunately, it won't be enough.
Well, sporting gesture from Kaminsky at the end. Big hug for his opponent. They will talk about this game over a beer later on, no doubt about that. Palermo now trying to turn it on. Bowling single-handed, I think, trying to go straight through the middle.
Yeah, just needed a few pins, so straight down the middle. Takes 8 on a spare, and that's enough. There's himself a bonus ball. He's through the 200 barrier, strike for 210. And an aggregate score of 466.
Well, there's no doubt this man is a quality performer.
Just trying a bit of one-handed stuff there. Takes 8.
Well, they'll be delighted with that. Osku Palermo of Finland, the reigning World Cup champion, is through to the quarter-final, where he will meet the reigning World 10-pin Masters champion, Chris Barnes of the USA. And that's how Palermo did it, courtesy of a pretty convincing win in the end against Guy Kaminsky. 4-6-4 to Palermo, 4-3-8 to Kaminsky. Palermo is through to the quarters.
So, defending champion Chris Barnes will now face the Flying Finn in round 2. But now let's look back at some past Masters, and who can forget the final of 2001 between Shalin Zulkifli of Malaysia and Torry Torgersen of Norway. We join our commentators with Zulkifli trailing by just 5 points coming into the 10th and final frame.
Tim Mack has just rejoined us in the commentary box, and he is just saying to us he can't remember seeing a match quite this intense. None of us can. Well, because she's adrift by those 5, she has to think in terms of 3 strikes here and just hope that something happens to Tora in this final frame.
Yep.
That's for sure. She needs to trust on God right now. And we also have another nickname on tour. We call him the God. So we will see what's happening here.
Got to have this. Absolutely vital. Is she going to keep
That's a good
her
shot.
hopes alive? It looks very good indeed.
Excellent. Excellent.
Oh, wow. Anne-Marie Putney enjoyed that one. But everybody's enjoying this. What a final.
Well, I feel privileged just to be here to see this. I have never seen a match this good.
Well, she's got to do it all over again now. Anne-Marie Putney says, go on, girl. She's been saying that throughout the tournament, actually. Very supportive of each other, the women competitors in this tournament. Now, can she keep it going?
Charlene takes a lot of time here. She gets through the shot like 100 times in her head right now.